Okay, here today with Jessica, one of the favorite teachers at Red Rock. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what brought you to yoga, what you love about it, and I know we could have a very lengthy conversation, the both of us, because we do love it.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about how you got started into yoga.
I could talk about this all day.
Right.
But I took my first class when I was a student at West Georgia, actually in 2005, so a long time ago.
Yes.
And I was hooked immediately. So I've always struggled with anxiety and just kind of this general feeling of nervousness. And the first time I settled down into Shavasana, which is the pose you do at the end of a yoga class, I felt this just flood of relief and all those kind of nerves just dissipated, and I thought, wow, I have got to do this again. And then I just kept coming back and kept coming back, and I moved to Chattanooga and I lived there for a decade, and I practiced at a really good studio up there, and then came back down here and worked for Laura at Red Rock, and I love it here. This place is my home, and I love the community that we have and the classes that we have. So.
Yes. Yeah. So each of us have a similar story of the things that bring us to yoga and that keep us here, because it is different than anybody thinks it is.
Yes.
So people have ideas of what they think it is. They'll often say, I'm not flexible, so I can't join yoga.
Oh, all the time.
That's the most common thing among my friends when I say, you should try yoga with me. They're like, I'm not flexible.
Yes.
And we're all crazy here. We're all just here trying to figure it out. And it's the least judgmental environment I've ever been in my life.
Yes.
Because you're able to come in and practice wherever you are. So can you talk to that a little bit about it? It's just for everyone?
Yes, absolutely. That is, Laura and I go around to many different yoga studios doing what we call market research, which is fun for us because we get to do yoga in a lot of places. But the number one thing that we want for Red Rock is that feeling of inclusion and that feeling of community. So as soon as someone walks in the door, we're going to greet them, we're going to smile at them, we're going to let them feel comfortable here, and we offer modifications. So if you are one of those people that's not super flexible, we'll walk you through it, we'll help you through it, and you'll be okay. No one comes to yoga and immediately pops into splits. It takes time.
It does.
And,
or even after 10 years, we don't pop into splits.
Exactly.
That's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And that's okay too.
And that's part of it, is that you make
it.
the peace with what you can't do, and yoga is a practice of acceptance.
Yes. And there are often names of poses that teachers will say, and I think it's very lovely that that you will explain it. This is what it's called, but this is what it looks like, and things like that, so you don't have to feel intimidated if you don't understand yoga words.
Yes,
it is a different language almost.
Yeah.
Well, that actually is.
There is. Yeah,
actually is a different language.
You may hear some English, you may hear some Sanskrit. We try to honor the roots of yoga and pay homage to where yoga came from. So you might hear some other language, and that's okay, but we'll walk you through it.
Yes. And another thing about being so welcoming and inviting, there are all levels of classes here. You can join classes that are a little harder, that are heated. As they're in the new studio here, we have heaters here, a different type heat. So a lot of people didn't have options to come to this type of yoga in our area. So you brought that into here.
Yeah, we were over at a house on Noonan Street, and we really wanted to be able to have a boutique yoga studio vibe, like you might find in Atlanta or Chattanooga. So we realized that the only way we could keep growing was to offer some of these heated classes and a wider variety of classes. So we installed these infrared heaters, and we have an industrial strength humidifier, so we can do true hot yoga.
That might not be the first class you try. You might want to work up to that one. I love it, but you have to work up to some of it, really and truly. It does. It's a building process.
It is.
And it does involve the mind and the body and just calming down. I'll never forget, I was in a space in life the first time I went to a yoga class, and I didn't know about Shavasana. I was like, man, this lady did this where we slowed down at the end. And my mind never slows down. So it was very shocking to me. That was the hardest part of the class for me, was having to be still at the end and listen to my own thoughts. So there are things about it that just are unexpected to me when you come to yoga, and it really does affect your whole body.
It does. So I teach a class on Tuesdays at 4:30 called Deep Stretch Yin, and that's just long holds of poses in stillness. That's a great place to start.
It's a wonderful
that
place.
or gentle yoga. But yeah, the thing that sets yoga apart from other workouts or other like modes of movement are the mind is involved and the soul is involved. So it's not just like a physical practice for your body, although that's great too. You become more flexible, you become stronger, but you'll start to notice your mind stilling a lot too, and your soul will kind of settle down a little, and you'll kind of be able to find equilibrium a little bit more.
Yes,
in
and
all those
speak about the
aspects.
breath, how that plays into it.
Yes, yeah. So pranayama or breath work, that's one of the 8 limbs of a yoga practice. Physical movement is only one of those limbs. So breath work is just as important as physical movement, and yoga really utilizes the breath. We move with the breath in vinyasa yoga. We do breath work exercises to settle you down, and then we also offer just classes for breath work too. So yeah, that's a super important part of the practice.
Do you have any questions that we need to add to this? We may be
so
not
myth, is it a myth that yoga is not as hard as it looks?
Well, it depends on what class you come to.
Can you repeat that? Is it a myth, is yoga as hard as it looks? And then answer it.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to ask her?
Yeah.
Okay. So myths.
Mind wants to start taking you on a journey and thinking about this and that and what am I going to have for supper and all that. So that's kind of the hard part of some of the slower classes. And then physically, that heated vinyasa class, for example, Adele's heated vinyasa class on Tuesday nights, I try to stay for that one, and that is an intense class. I'm sweating. I've been doing yoga for 20 years, but she's got me sweating. So no, I would not say any part of yoga is really easy. And I love when I have an athlete, for example, come in and he's like, I can do yoga, no problem. And then I get to show him it's not as easy as he might think.
You almost want to say standing on one foot is not hard, but it's very, very hard. So balance is another challenge for a lot of people, and they don't want to participate if they can't do the balances. I'm 55. I'm never going to need to know how to do all those things. So you have to really listen to yourself and not put a lot of pressure on yourself to do every pose. I don't need to know. I love that I can stand on my head. Aside from that, I don't have to balance on one foot and do all those things. Although it is very important. The balance, the strength, the core, it changes so many aspects of your life. And you start to notice those parts of yoga in your daily life, unlike other, I would like to say, I know other things are that way too, but it does just start showing itself up in different areas.
Absolutely. So I love a practice of what I call yoga off the mat, and that can be physical, like when you're brushing your teeth and you just pop into a tree pose to test your balance.
You want to show us what that is?
I'll show you a tree pose.
Show us a tree pose.
Everybody might not know.
Hop in a tree pose.
Watch me not be able to balance
You got
at all.
it. You can do it.
Basically,
we do have a new floor.
I know, we have a new squishy floor. So you stand on one foot, and step 1 is you just kickstand the toes, and that's the most stability. Step 2 is this foot comes on up to the calf, and step 3 is maybe you help that foot wobbling on up to the thigh. See, the pressure has got me.
No, you got it. She can do this. She absolutely
Step 3 is you help the foot on up to the thigh. So maybe you're just like brushing your teeth at home and you just pop into a little tree pose and play with your balance, but it doesn't have to be like a physical practice off the mat too. You can find like the mental part of yoga. Say you're driving in your car and somebody cuts in front of you and your immediate reaction is like, I want to yell at them or whatever. Like maybe you do a little breath work. You take a step back. So yoga allows us to not be quite so reactive.
One thing that I've caught myself is that often I'm like this, and I'm like, she would say, shoulders back.
Yes, shoulders back and down.
Just our physical postures when we're at work or when we're, like you said, driving. That oftentimes we see these things that yoga brings attention to.
Absolutely.
And we're able to correct it and don't even know we're absorbing that too. So it just does infiltrate all of your life.
Yeah, it's a tool for a more peaceful existence.
Right. I love that. And the community is unlike any other. Well, I say that because I think it's my favorite. It's my favorite kind of community.
It is,
because it is such a loving, caring, nobody's looking around at you. We're all trying to figure out what the heck we're supposed to be doing.
And I hear that a lot.
That pressure off.
Exactly. I hear that a lot from people. It's like, I don't want I don't want people to look at me or see me doing something wrong or whatever.
Right.
There's nothing wrong you can do.
Exactly.
There's no right or wrong. We'll guide you through alignment and we'll guide you through the practice, but everybody is so worried about themselves and keeping their own balance. Nobody is looking at a new we're all just trying to stay on one foot.
Yes, we're all trying to live our life over
Yeah,
here
yeah.
and do it and not think. But it is a lot of self-consciousness when you try something new. I think it's that way with anything, really. And the yoga, the things about it that people have built up in their minds already without being here can be a bit intimidating. So you need to find a space that's welcoming and warm and comforting, just as I found at Red Rock.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here, and everyone.
Part of it. Yes, we have a great list of teachers. We'll share some of all that information too.
Yeah.